Everyone needs to be aware of the warning signals of abuse. Continue reading to learn more about the risks of narcissistic abuse and how to avoid experiencing it. The terms narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder are likely familiar to you. It is regarded as an ingrained personality pattern that is challenging to alter, largely because people who exhibit those features don't think they are having a problem. A grandiose feeling of self-importance, trouble empathizing with others, a strong need for flattery, envy, and a sense of entitlement are some of the disorder's more blatant symptoms. But how can these characteristics manifest as abuse? What unhealthy relationship dynamics emerge when one's spouse is a narcissist, as opposed to when they are simply insecure or enjoy being the focus of attention? Do you share a romantic partner with a narcissist? Do you have a partner who is narcissistic toward you? Prior to it being too late, be aware of these symptoms. Following are some indicators of narcissistic abuse. A narcissist strives to make your world smaller. Narcissists are possessive and envious. They must be in charge of your life. Do you enjoy calling your parents or siblings to talk to them on the phone or paying them a visit? Do you enjoy socializing with friends? Do you go to the gym regularly? Narcissists will claim that you ignored your kids or them. They will accuse you of having the wrong priorities and putting others ahead of them. You might reflexively decline invites from others or only speak to pals seldom to avoid a fight. Your hobbies will be constrained. Your world starts to get smaller very quickly. When you choose to go out with friends on a particular occasion, it will be interpreted as evidence that you don't care about your partner. You always have the option to stand up for your rights and engage in debates, or to avoid social interactions. And loss. By the way, don't expect your spouse to lavish you with attention the entire evening when you cancel plans with your friends to show him or her that he or she is always your priority. Likely, he or she will ignore you. The second instance of narcissistic abuse is if you complain about being ignored after foregoing a night out. 2. Narcissists never admit fault. There is always someone else to blame. The rule is straightforward. You are responsible for having them do something you don't like, and they are responsible for making you do something you don't like. Unlike you, narcissists never find a justification for their inappropriate actions. Narcissists frequently refuse to even acknowledge that their cruel or deceptive behavior is inappropriate. It will be said of you that you are overly sensitive or that you take things personally. But in reality, narcissists take very personally every slight, no matter how tiny. Consequently, we arrive at the third aspect of narcissistic abuse. 3. Narcissists attribute to others all of their negative traits. You are the one in control. They are not. They never act egotistical or needy, but you do. When they keep you in the dark about a lot of things, they will accuse you of lying or being secretive. Sadly, a spouse who has been subjected to narcissistic abuse will frequently do something they have a legal right to do, like spend money, see a friend, etc., behind the narcissist's back in order to avoid an argument. But when the partner's secret is revealed, the narcissist has additional evidence that they can't be trusted, which prompts them to exert even more control over their spouse. In the end, dealing with narcissists won't be successful. This brings us to the fourth point. 4. Narcissists employ double standards and invent norms that suit their purposes. Because they won't accept they are mistaken, narcissists are difficult to argue with. As a result, whenever you accuse them of having two sets of standards, they always have an explanation or a method to make you feel foolish. They have a strong sense that the law doesn't apply to them, that the rules must always be followed because they have to exert control over you. Even if you find them doing something that you would never be permitted to do, they will still make you the object of their ire. They accomplish this in numerous ways. They may acknowledge what they are doing, yet they will still blame you of having done it repeatedly. Given everything they have to put up with in your relationship, they might argue that you have no right to accuse them of anything. They might say you're unforgiving or intolerable. Later on, if you bring up the incident, they will accuse you of harboring resentment. The rules will abruptly alter to further complicate matters. Because of this, whenever it serves their interests to prove you incorrect, you will be found guilty as charged. When this happens, you begin to lose sight of who is right and who is wrong, which gets us to 5. You believe you are losing your mind. Narcissists seek to maintain your unease. Instead of them, they want you to doubt yourself. They want you to question your feelings and perceptions. One reason why victims stay in an abusive relationship is because of this. They start to think they are fundamentally flawed, that people might not want them, and that the abuser is correct to point out their mistakes. Remember that narcissists don't frequently associate with other narcissists. Instead, they discover people who are willing to examine their weaknesses rather than place blame on others, who make a special effort to be extra fair and cooperative, and who are eager to give more than they receive. Such people are easier for them to manipulate. Additionally, it is more challenging for the abused person to leave a relationship when there are children involved or joint property ownership. This gets us to the 6th point, which is 6. A narcissist will seek retaliation if you reject them. It is referred to as narcissistic injury in psychology when a narcissist feels harmed, questioned, wronged, or made to appear foolish. For someone with an inflated feeling of their own importance, that is not acceptable. They have to get revenge or get the last word. On a minor scale, it can manifest as irate texts or someone criticizing you in front of others. It is true that a narcissist would try to manipulate how other people perceive you if he can no longer control you. In more extreme situations, a narcissist can try to use the kids as leverage against you or threaten you with financial ruin. Even a year after you and the narcissist ended your relationship, they can get in touch. That gets us to the last narcissistic abuse point. 7. A narcissist will reject you in order to re-engage with you, and then reject you once more. In one instance, a narcissist broke up with a woman. He informed her he didn't want to speak to her ever again. She got a text from him a few days later. All he wanted to do was say hello and ask how she was. She interpreted it as a hint that they would reconnect. They planned to meet for dinner, but ended up staying together all night. The following day, he was frigid, humiliated her for even imagining that he would want her back, and rejected her. The severity of narcissistic abuse varies. In lesser varieties, it could be a little bit easier to endure, but it is a constant struggle. The best piece of advice is to avoid becoming involved in narcissistic relationships.